The secret of men who never get replaced by others. It sounds like a myth until you meet a man who lives it. He doesn't beg, he doesn't chase, and yet he's always chosen. In this video, we'll uncover what makes a man irreplaceable, even in a world where options are endless and loyalty is rare. If you're tired of being discarded, ghosted, or replaced the second she gets bored, this might be the wake-up call you didn't know you needed. Because being strong isn't enough. Being present isn't enough. There's a specific kind of masculine presence, emotional strength, and stoic mindset that separates men who are kept from those who are forgotten. And if you don't master this, someone else will, while you're still wondering what went wrong. Stay until the very end, because missing even one part of this could leave you blind to what's costing you everything in silence. If this message is hitting somewhere deep, or giving you that finally someone said it feeling, take a moment to like this video, drop your thoughts in the comments, and share it with a brother who needs this as much as you do. Now let's pull the curtain back on what really makes a man unforgettable, and why most guys never even get close. Why some men are never replaced. You've seen him before. The guy who doesn't say much, but when he enters the room, people notice. He doesn't compete, doesn't chase, and yet women hold on tight. Not because he begs for it, but because he embodies something rare. Masculine presence. This video isn't about becoming liked. It's about becoming unforgettable. And it starts with understanding why some men never get replaced, even when they do nothing to stop it. Let me say something uncomfortable right away. If you've ever been left, ghosted, replaced, or friend-zoned, you weren't the man she couldn't afford to lose. That truth stings, but it also liberates. Because you're not stuck. You can learn what sets those men apart. Hint, it's not money, muscles, or manipulation. It's something deeper, something built through emotional discipline and a solid masculine frame. Here's what most men don't realize. A woman doesn't replace a man out of nowhere. She replaces him in stages, emotionally, mentally, then physically. The signs were there. You just weren't trained to see them. Men who are never replaced have something the others don't. Mental clarity and emotional intelligence that pick up on subtle shifts. They adapt without becoming reactive. They hold the frame. Think about this. When you're too available, too eager, too quick to please, you become the emotional equivalent of fast food. Easy to access, easy to forget. A man who operates from self-respect and non-negotiable standards doesn't need to prove his worth. He is the standard. And that difference changes everything. She doesn't compare him to others because she knows there are no others like him. Let's be brutally honest. Most men are replaceable because they don't even know what they bring to the table. They rely on attention, validation, and sex to feel relevant. But an alpha mindset doesn't beg for relevance. It creates it. These men lead with purpose, not need. Their presence is rooted in inner power, not performance. And women can feel that even if they can't explain it. There's a power in being the man who can walk away, not out of ego, but because you've mastered emotional control. That kind of energy makes her lean in, not pull away. It flips the dynamic. And this isn't about playing games. It's about living with stoicism, making peace with loss, and choosing to lead yourself first. Because the man who doesn't fear being alone never gets abandoned. Picture this. A woman scrolling through her phone surrounded by options. She smiles, responds to some, but there's one man she keeps going back to. He's not always available. He's not always sweet, but there's something about him. His silence speaks. His words carry weight. That's the power of silence. That's male dominance without saying a word. And most men never even get close to it. Let's be clear. Masculine polarity isn't about being louder, tougher, or colder. It's the calm, grounded energy that makes her feel safe without you needing to say a word. A man with true leadership energy doesn't lead with control. He leads by example, through presence and alignment. While other guys beg for attention, he creates an emotional environment that draws her in. He doesn't talk too much. He doesn't need to fix everything. He just holds steady. That's why she can't replace him. There's no chaos, no drama, just consistency, direction, and quiet dominance. And that's what she remembers. Most guys lose women not because they aren't good enough, but because they allow behavior that chips away at their dignity. Irreplaceable men understand personal boundaries like sacred law. They don't argue about being disrespected, they just disappear. They don't beg for attention, they redirect it. When a man lives with standards, he doesn't fear being alone, he fears being around the wrong energy. And that's the key, self-respect that doesn't crack under pressure. Women test men constantly to see where they fold. The man who doesn't fold, he becomes the rare exception, and the one she doesn't forget. You want to know why some men never get replaced? It's because they aren't emotionally dependent. They're purpose-driven. They don't revolve around her plans, they revolve around their mission, and that changes everything. When a woman senses that your life moves forward, with or without her, it flips a switch inside her. She realizes she can't just pause you. You have momentum. Masculine identity is about movement, creation, direction. The man who doesn't chase her forces her to chase connection, not because he manipulates, but because he leads. And the world naturally follows a man who leads with clarity. Let me tell you about John, a real guy, early 30s, who gave everything to a woman who slowly pulled away. He skipped workouts, ignored his business, made her the center of his life. And the more he gave, the colder she got. Until one day she ghosted him for someone less intense. He broke down. But months later, after diving into emotional resilience, rebuilding his routine, and reclaiming his inner power, he ran into her again. This time she was the one reaching. But he was done. He wasn't bitter, just rebuilt. And that was his true win. There's a moment every man must face, the choice between being liked and being respected. The men who are never replaced always choose respect over love. They know love without respect turns into manipulation. You become a toy, not a leader. That's why they walk when things turn toxic, no matter how much they want to stay. It's not about ego, it's about male self-worth. They don't need to prove anything, they just don't allow themselves to be emotionally cheapened. And strangely, that's what makes women respect them even more. Because deep down, they trust men who walk away. If you've ever felt like you had to constantly prove your value to stay in someone's life, you were never really valued. That's not strength, that's desperation wearing a nice suit. The man who leads with unshakable confidence doesn't explain himself over and over. He lets his actions speak. He knows who he is. He doesn't need agreement. He sets the tone and lets the world adjust. That kind of presence isn't loud, it's stable. And women are biologically drawn to men who provide that type of energetic shelter. Not comfort, not softness, masculine frame. That's what makes her stay. So how do you begin becoming irreplaceable? You start with audits, harsh ones. Where are you giving your power away? Who are you tolerating just to avoid being alone? Where are you folding just to keep someone happy? Replace emotional weakness with emotional intelligence. Start saying no when it's hard. Set time aside to focus only on yourself, daily. Cut off people who violate your peace twice. That's where emotional control is built, in the repetition of saying, "This is who I am, this is what I allow." And trust me, women can feel that shift the moment it happens. Here's what separates the average man from the unforgettable one. The ability to stay calm when his emotions scream to react. That's not detachment, it's emotional discipline. It's knowing when to speak and when to walk. Most men explode or fold under pressure. The rare man holds his frame. He feels everything but shows only what he chooses. That's control, that's power. And that level of presence creates a space where others feel safe, even when you say nothing. That's why the power of silence isn't weakness. It's the most dangerous tool in a strong man's arsenal. Let's talk about presence. Not the fake kind, not the try-hard alpha act. Real presence. The kind that fills a room without needing to take over it. That's masculine presence. You don't need to dominate. Your energy already speaks for you. You walk slowly. You speak intentionally. You're not rushed because you own your time. That's what people feel. That's what she notices. And that's what makes you hard to forget. A man who moves with mental clarity and direction doesn't just take space. He defines it. Women don't want to replace that. They want to hold on to it. Think about the men you admire most. They're not loud. They're not thirsty for validation. They're focused, rooted, respected. And every man watching this has the ability to become one if he's willing to leave behind the weak habits that made him replaceable. But it starts now, not next week, not next heartbreak. You're either reinforcing your powers or giving it away in pieces. And here a quick pause. If this content is waking you up to things you've never seen before, do yourself a favor. Hit the like button and subscribe right now. Seriously. Because what's coming next will hit even deeper. Let's keep going. Women don't want to teach a man how to be a man, and they shouldn't have to. A man who leads himself leads the relationship by default. That doesn't mean control, it means stoicism, structure, and certainty. He doesn't look for her approval before making decisions. He includes her, respects her, but stays grounded in masculine identity. That's what gives her space to relax into her femininity. When she feels that contrast, she holds on tight, because the moment he becomes emotionally dependent, the polarity collapses. And when that goes, desire isn't far behind. Let's be honest, the world is full of weak men trying to look strong, but real strength is quiet, it's patient, it's built in silence. While other guys post about it, the irreplaceable man becomes it. He works out not to impress her, but to reinforce discipline. He studies not to brag, but to sharpen focus. He builds wealth not for flexing, but for freedom. And this daily grind is how alpha mindset becomes a way of life. You don't chase women when you're chasing mission. You attract them through purpose-driven consistency. And that's the real flex. If you keep wondering why you get replaced, stop blaming her. Start studying you. Is your time structured? Are your goals clear? Do your words match your actions? Or are you shifting with her mood, trying to stay in her favor? That's emotional weakness. And that's what women discard. A man who owns his day, his space, and his choices, he's rare. That's the man she can't replace. Because his energy isn't reactive. It's built on stoic mindset, emotional strength, and direction. You don't become him by accident. You become him by subtracting what's making you average. Now imagine her watching you. Not the old you, but the evolved one. The one who doesn't flinch when tested. The one who calmly says no without anger. The one who disappears when disrespected and never returns the same. That man she won't forget, because now she knows there's a cost to losing you. That's the shift. You go from being tolerated to being honored, not through arrogance, but through grounded value. That's what high-value man energy looks like. You didn't ask for respect. You became someone she couldn't risk losing again. There's a type of silence that makes a woman overthink in the best way. It's not the cold shoulder. It's the silence of a man who knows his worth. When you stop over-explaining, when you stop asking for understanding, you start radiating certainty. And that certainty is addictive. That's the beauty of the power of silence. You're not ignoring. You're inviting her to rise to your standard. That shift alone redefines how she sees you. She stops leading, she starts respecting. And that's when the whole dynamic changes. You're not chasing anymore. She's coming back for something real. Let's make this clear. Being stoic doesn't mean you suppress your emotions. It means you own them, you master them, you respond, not react. That's stoicism in real time. Most men think they're being strong by hiding pain, but strength is the ability to sit in pain without collapsing. The irreplaceable man doesn't need validation to process what he feels. He faces it with emotional strength. And that grounded posture, that quiet clarity, is what makes women feel safe. Not the words, not the flowers, but the stability she can sense when everything else feels uncertain. Ever notice how some men get respect without asking? That's because respect can't be demanded. It's attracted, built, embodied. And that starts with living by non-negotiable standards. If you let her break your rules, you never had rules. If you change your core to fit her chaos, she'll stop trusting you. She might stay, but she'll stop admiring you. And when admiration dies, attraction follows. But if you hold your ground, if your words match your walk, you won't need to raise your voice. She'll raise her behavior. Because now your presence is something she doesn't want to lose. Don't underestimate how many women are silently testing the men they date. Not to destroy them, but to find their edges. To feel protected by something stronger than their own storm. If you fail those tests, she loses confidence in you, even if she still loves you. The man who passes those tests isn't the loudest. He's the one who walks in alignment with masculine frame. He leads calmly. He listens without reacting. He doesn't overpromise. He just is. That's the man she texts late at night, the one she talks about, the one she remembers. Let's get brutally honest. If she doesn't fear losing you, it's because you've made yourself too easy to lose. Think about that. A man with inner power doesn't need threats. His silence, his absence, his detachment say more than words ever could. That's what makes her pause, that's what makes her reflect. She knows when she's crossed a line, and when he's really done, she feels it. Not out of anger, but out of total emotional control. Because he's not walking away for show. He's walking away because his peace matters more than her approval. The man who never gets replaced doesn't compete with other men. He competes with his past self. That's the secret. He doesn't care who she follows on Instagram. He doesn't get insecure when other guys show interest. He simply focuses on becoming the most aligned version of himself. Male dominance is not about control, it's about mastery. Of your emotions, your schedule, your goals. That's why she feels his presence even when he's not around. That's why she's still thinking about him months after it ends, because when he left, he took his world with him. You're not here to be good enough. You're here to be undeniable. That means doing the hard things consistently, getting uncomfortable, saying no when it costs you, holding frame when she tests you, building your body, your mind, your mission, not for her, but for you. Because women don't replace men who live with purpose-driven fire. They replace men who wait around hoping to be chosen. But when you choose yourself first, everything shifts. You stop seeking a seat at her table and start building your own. And that, my friend, is where she wants to sit. If you've been the nice guy who still got left, this part is for you. Nice isn't enough. Polite isn't enough. Women don't want a man who always agrees. They want a man who knows where he stands. A man with masculine identity challenges her emotionally, not with drama, but with depth. He doesn't give her everything up front. He lets her earn access to him. That contrast creates value. The more access she gets, the more she wants. Because now she feels like she's winning something real, not babysitting a boy who can't lead himself. You don't attract loyalty through fear or pressure. You attract it through emotional intelligence. When she sees you responding to chaos with calm, that's when she trusts you. And trust is what makes you irreplaceable, not charm, not appearance. When a woman feels emotionally safe in your presence, she stops looking, because she knows she won't find that anywhere else. That's the edge most men never develop. They chase attention instead of building presence. They perform instead of protecting their peace. But the one who learns emotional mastery, he becomes the final chapter, not just another page. Let's address the elephant in the room, sex. It's important, but it's not why she stays, it's how she feels after. Did she feel seen, protected, grounded, or did she feel used, unseen, unled? A man with alpha mindset understands that intimacy is a reflection of polarity, not performance. When a woman feels your calm strength, even in the most vulnerable moments, it bonds her beyond logic. She doesn't want to lose that. She doesn't want to start over. She doesn't want to gamble on finding that again. That's why she holds on. That's why she stays. When a man walks with purpose, he becomes a mirror. He reflects to others where they're lacking. And that's not always welcomed. Some people will call you arrogant. Some will say you've changed. Good, because you have. You've stepped into your leadership energy, and you're no longer available for anything that weakens your vision. That means saying goodbye to old friends, old habits, even old versions of yourself, not because you're better, but because you're done being average. The men who are never replaced aren't the most lovable. They're the most aligned, and alignment speaks louder than love. You want real change? Get comfortable with being misunderstood. Stop needing everyone to approve. Stop needing her to get it. She doesn't have to understand your path to respect it. She just needs to feel that you're solid, that you're building something with or without her. That's what turns heads. That's what creates tension, the good kind. That's the foundation of masculine polarity. Two forces, one grounded, one flowing, and the man who holds his course even when emotions swirl around him, that's the man she can't help but remember, even if she tries to forget. There's one last thing you need to hear. The man who never gets replaced is not the one who plays it safe. He risks being alone to stand by his truth. He risks judgment to protect his path. He risks losing her to keep himself. And that's the paradox. The man willing to lose everything is the one women fight to keep. Because he's not performing, he's becoming, daily. That's masculine frame at its core. Unapologetic, intentional, solid. And when you embody that, you don't chase, you don't beg, You don't fear being left because you are the prize. So if you've been wondering how to stop being the guy who's always replaced, this is it. Not a tactic, not a trick, a total transformation. You choose the path of Stoicism, of grounded strength, of leading with clarity and value. You become a man with non-negotiable standards and a mission too real to fake. And from that space, women feel it. They know they're in the presence of something rare, something they don't want to lose. You've become that man, and when you do, she knows exactly what she'd be walking away from, and that's the difference. So now you've got a choice. You can walk away from this video and go back to being the man who waits to be chosen, or you can step into being the man no woman dares to replace. What would shift in your life if you stopped chasing comfort and started living by non-negotiable standards? If you traded fear of loss for inner power, would your relationships look different? Would you look different? Let me ask you, what part of you are you still giving away for cheap? What are you tolerating just to avoid being alone? And more importantly, who would you become if you finally stopped apologizing for your masculine identity? Drop it in the comments, seriously. Let's open this up. From now on, I will not be replaceable. Write that below if you're ready to shift the dynamic for good. Thank you, truly, for sticking with me until the end of this video. That already puts you steps ahead of most. If this message hit deep, take a second to like the video, send it to a friend who needs to hear this, and subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. Because this is just the beginning. And your evolution? It's already in motion.